You're listening to Pyro Media Network, setting radios ablaze since 2017.
Welcome to the Put It in the Manual podcast. It's me, Fallon, here for another episode. I think we are at episode 3 now. Thank you for rocking with your girl. First and foremost, let's just take a pause. If you listened to the last episode, you already know that your girl is all about the power that's in a pause. So let's just take a collective woosah moment to just pause, gather our thoughts, resent ourselves, and get ready to get into the conversation. So let's just say uno dos tres, pause. Today we are going to be talking about the almost moments. Oh, the almost that almost were reality, the situations that we were almost in, the ones we thought we were in that ultimately turned out to not be good situations at all, and just all those moments where we are out here fighting and kicking and screaming and scratching and crying, thinking that this was our one chance, our one opportunity, our one missed moment to get what we thought we wanted, and just it was almost, but it was not for us. The not for us doesn't even sound as powerful as the almost, but the power really is in that not for us. And that is the moments and the circumstances that we are going to be talking about today. So for me, I feel like I have had so many almost moments, almost where I thought that I was in the right relationship, almost where I thought I was making the pivot at the right time, at the right place for that job that just sounded so great on paper, but ultimately was not the reality that I thought it was. Or even those almost situations, those opportunities that I just knew were for me, that I worked hard for, that I sweated with the blood, sweat, and tears, and I just put my all in, and it just didn't pan out to what I thought it was going to be. Those losses, those L's that I took, that ultimately I had to realize I didn't almost lose anything, because in this life, you get what's yours always. It might not come when you want it to, but you always get on the path you're supposed to be on. You get with that perfect fit of a situation that's yours. It might not always be packaged the way you think it is, but man, the almost that I have dodged a bullet on, and I'm sure y'all have too. That's the moment that I want to put in the manual. I think I'm gonna call it that aha moment, where you realize that almost really did not count. Sorry, Brandy, but that almost really did not count because it was not a part of your portion. It just wasn't yours. So I want to take it back to 2016. That was like a decade ago. It sounds crazy to even think that 2016 was literally a decade ago. By that time, I had been pretty comfortable working at a mid-sized firm. I was in court almost every day. I had my routine down to a science. I knew my judges, I knew my courts, I knew what I needed, discovery, everything had just become pretty much routine to me. And for some reason, I just got the great idea that, you know what? Maybe this isn't the right fit for me. Maybe my moment isn't where I'm at. So I went out on a limb and, kind of had conversations with some people who ultimately worked for a client that we represented at my firm. And they kind of got in my ear about an opportunity that I thought was like a too good to be true. Like, oh my God, y'all trying to give me this amount of money? Y'all trying to put your girl on like really just hooked me up. And ultimately, I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave this comfortable space that I'm at right now. And I'm going to take this leap. And, this is going to be better for me. Like, this is going to be where I need to be. Like, I just knew that it was the moment that I had been waiting for to just completely shake things up. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, which that's a whole thing of the past apparently. But, in my profession, I said that probably was the courteous thing to do. So I put in my 2 weeks notice and I packed all my stuff up and I just knew that I was going off to this new job. I'm going to be in-house and I'm just going to be ruling the world. Like everything is going to be so great. Now, my first sign that maybe things weren't so great or weren't going to be so great is that same group of people who presented that opportunity to me. I found out that they had been basically courting another attorney at my firm also. So my opportunity that I just thought landed in my lap that was going to be just like super perfect, it wasn't even me that they were looking at. I'm thinking the whole time that they've just realized my talent out of everybody at my firm and that they're just coming to me like on some side stuff with this opportunity. But it turns out, again, that they had been courting another attorney at my firm. So I go for my interview and we talk numbers and basically all the ins and outs of what I think I need to be asking these people, these hiring parties about this new opportunity that they're presenting me with. I get my salary, I get all these things that, you negotiate, you feel like you're doing your big one on, but I find out that they have also courted this other person. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do this. But I didn't listen to that voice in my head and I'm like, can't be too bad. So I go and I start this job and I'm a weekend. I guess our hiring dates or start dates didn't really coincide. So we weren't starting on the first day. But I get there and they put me in my desk. They give me all my stuff. They basically give me the rundown of what role I'll be playing. Never once do they mention anything about this other person that's joining. It just so happened he kind of texted me on the side and asked me about it. Like, hey, I heard that this opportunity is something that you're thinking about also. And I was like, yeah, man, like, okay, again, I'm ignoring my intuition. But fast forward again. So he starts that next week, and off top, I can see that things are not looking copacetic. He is given an office that is like twice the size of mine. Might be small, but when you've been licensed longer than somebody else and your skills are pretty much comparable, that type of thing does matter. So at first I was like, okay, y'all got him in this big office. Okay, cool. We keep going. Days and weeks progress, and these individuals that basically run this organization, they're coming into town all the time and talking numbers and doing all these things. And I just remember sitting at my desk one day and I just happened to hear them over talking and they're like, oh, well, are we going to the game tonight? Like, are we still on? Like, we got a suite? Just all these plans. And I'm like, okay. And it turns out that they're making these plans with this other attorney who came from my firm to their firm. And I'm like, interesting. They walk by me and they're kind of like, oh, well, you're not really interested in baseball. So, we'll see you tomorrow. And I'm just like, even if I wasn't interested in baseball, why would y'all not think to ask? I mean, outside of the obvious questions that someone would be asking at this moment, Yeah, the answer is yes. All of them. Everybody included in that story, just yes. Read between the lines, and yes, they were. So as time progresses, just small little things like this keep happening. And I'm kind of just still sitting there thinking, like, well, I wouldn't have had this opportunity if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't my opportunity, if it wasn't meant for me to be right here. Why would I be right here? So I'm telling myself, talking myself out of things, and I'm like, just keep going. Like, you have to do this. Like, you literally gave up an opportunity at a place where you were comfortable. Like, why would you give it up now, even though you're miserable? Even though things are not lining up or not seeming fair, or the opportunities are not the same that you're getting as this other individual who is probably not even as qualified as you. I mean, no shade. I know he was a talented individual as well, but I'm just basically going off of what I know. So time continues to progress. By this time, we're at like maybe month 3, month 4, and me and this individual are just having a conversation. And I don't know how we even got on the topic, but he's mentioning like bonuses and extra days and all these things, and he's like, oh, well, you didn't know to negotiate for those? And I'm like, I mean, I did negotiate, but that wasn't even presented to me. And at that moment I was like, you know what, no, I can't do this anymore. But I didn't want to say that I was giving up, or I didn't want to quit, or I didn't want to be that person who wasn't putting my all into a situation. Um, and I know this kind of touches on what we talked about on episode 2 with the taking that pause for yourself to think about things. But in that moment, I didn't want to concede. I didn't want to give up on this opportunity because, man, I'm like, dang, opportunities don't come that often. How can I be ungrateful in this moment and give up on an opportunity that was presented to me? And baby, it got to the point where I dreaded waking up, going physically into that building made me sick, and I had to say no. So I called my old boss and I literally let him know, like, hey, I don't know how things are going, but they're not going so great over here. And please let me know what I need to do to get back. So I don't know if the stars just aligned for me, or maybe they were still struggling to find their way after losing 2 attorneys. I don't know. But by some way, that man had called me back probably within like the next hour and was offering me a salary that was way higher than I was making when I was there originally, and higher than that opportunity that I left for. So for me, I took that almost moment where I almost didn't even want to get out of that situation that felt so suffocating to me. I almost did not make that phone call. And had I not, then this story that we're telling right now, it wouldn't even be the same. It wouldn't even be the career path or the trajectory that I'm on now, because I probably would have still been sitting there miserable in a space where I wasn't getting what I deserved, what I thought looked good from the outside, what I left something that I was cool and comfortable with. Like, I was fine, I was chilling. Nothing was really rocking the boat. I just wanted, to cast my net out there, and it just so happened that that person came and picked me up. Like, they came in and entertained me to take that opportunity. But my God, that moment, that probably was one of the most pivotal almost moments that I almost gave up on, because I thought that just because that opportunity was given to me, that it had to have been mine. And that's the message that I'm trying to put in the manual right now, is that yes, sometimes stuff may look good to you and it might seem like what you think you need in the moment, But sometimes them almost moments are the ones that you need to run from as fast as you can, because just because it don't work out or it isn't working out, it does not necessarily mean that it's a failure. It does not necessarily mean that you messed up, that no new opportunities will come your way. It does not mean any of that. And that is really what I want to put in the manual right now. When we rewind and look back on our lives at all of these moments that we probably have beat ourselves up for, like, why did I date this person? Why was I so stupid? Why did I listen to what they said? Why did I do this? Like, I can almost guarantee the majority of those moments that you tried to make happen, there was probably some type of almost in there. Like, this person almost treats me as good as I want to be treated, or maybe this is almost like what I can do. Like, it might not feel perfect, but man, that almost is it's almost so intoxicating sometimes. Like, that almost moment will pull you in and just really make you feel like you gotta settle. And it's the almost that those moments, like, ugh, I'm almost happy that that situation occurred, because I almost did not have the life that I do now based on those decisions. Had I not made that phone call when I did not enjoy where I was, when I realized that that opportunity was not for me, my former employer would have never even went to the HR or whomever and let them know that my move wasn't working out. I would have never put myself in a position to get a better salary. And I hate that I didn't know that. I probably could have negotiated with him then, or came to him at review time or evaluation time and tried to make a plea for myself to get more money or get more opportunities than I'd been presented with at that firm. Like, I almost let a good thing go to waste because I wanted to keep my mouth shut. I didn't want to seem like I wasn't grateful. I didn't want God to think that, well, girl, you prayed for this, you asked for all this opportunity, and then I gave it to you, and now you're giving it up. Like, I feel like somehow, some way, we have convinced ourselves that every little scrap we get, we is what we deserve. And I hope that makes sense, because I've seen people literally, and I've done it myself, literally, like, this person is almost perfect. Almost. They almost are giving me every little thing that I want. But but on the other side, my heart was yearning for more. My heart was yearning for somebody that was going to do more than just almost love me the way that I thought I needed to be loved. Or I almost had that job that I thought was perfect, when in reality, all I needed to do was go back to the drawing board and let people know that I maybe I got too comfortable and I wanted new challenges, or I wanted more challenging work. I wanted to maybe learn a new area of the law. I wanted to make a little bit more money. I wanted to do something that was going to change what I thought had become too routine or mundane for me. And I just think that sometimes we convince ourselves that maybe what's been going on isn't good enough. And that's fine, because I think we're supposed to want more. We're always entitled to want more. We can always ask for more. Um, but on that same accord, I feel like sometimes we've been conditioned to think that every little offering that's given to us is what we're supposed to take. Um, it's okay to say no. It's okay to shop around. One of my girlfriends basically told me at one point that gone are the days where we had to sit around and work somewhere for 40 to 50 years just because they gave us that opportunity. And I always thought that was like crazy. Like, no, I never want to hop around for jobs, or I never want to be that person that's always seeming like I'm not satisfied with what I have. And I had to like really grow up, because that way of thinking, I did so much damage to myself just thinking that stuff that was not great was not supposed to be mine. Like I was so content with the almost great that I almost let a lot of situations stick around for too long when I probably should have been falling back and almost telling myself that I deserve better in the first place. And while we're on that thought, let's take it to a short commercial break so we can almost pay these bills. No, we're not almost paying them, we're paying them. I'll be back.
Network is like no other streaming network. We are not controlled by corporate sponsors or political influence. We are a network created by the people, for the people. Our people, that is. Representation is so important, and we are focused on providing that. So spread the word. Follow us on all major social media platforms at Pyro Media Network. Or you can visit our website at www.pyromedianetwork.com, and we will take your viewing experience to the next level.
Okay, now that we have paid some bills, let's get back on this conversation about these almost moments. Almost all these opportunities, the maybes that never became yeses, those plans that may have changed, those opportunities that just did not work out how we thought they were going to work out. What are they telling us? For me, I do think there are some answers in those almost doesn't count moments. I really do. And I think when you get down to the nitty gritty of things, these almost that we thought we needed or wanted or tried to make happen, they really say a lot about just us in general. For me, I feel like a lot of my moments, my almost moments, were situations where I probably was like trying to people please, or I didn't want to disappoint my parents, or I didn't want to disappoint my friends or my family or the person that was signing my paychecks. It's like a false sense of loyalty where I wasn't even giving myself the chance to really advocate for me or what I really wanted to do. I just thought that I had to do it because I didn't want to disappoint somebody, or I didn't want people to think that I was not a grateful person. Like, who cares? Like, why am I worried about what someone else thinks? Like, why? Why? Now, I know it took me a long time to get to that point where I could say I didn't really care, and I struggle with it now. I'd be fronting and shaking if I didn't say that I still struggle a little bit with wanting to make decisions that I know will put a smile on somebody's face. A lot of times we run away from those decisions that we know are going to cause controversy, or we know are not going to be the popular opinion, or we know that it might disappoint others, or that it might cause a rift, or we're thinking maybe somebody is going to look at us differently if we make these certain decisions. Like I would be lying if I said that I had got completely all the way out of that. But I can say positively that I've gotten better at it, and that desire to just want to please others or people please kind of disappeared a little bit as I've matured and aged and kind of lived life enough to know that everything doesn't always have to be rainbows and butterflies and sealed with a kiss with a pretty red bow on it and glitter sprinkled. Like, that's just something you have to kind of learn and deal with as you're maturing. But those almost really can show you that maybe I wasn't doing this just for me. Maybe this was a decision based off of what I thought somebody else was going to think. And sometimes I feel like I was thinking like that because I hadn't made it to a place where I was safe. I kind of was like in a survival mode way of thinking. Sometimes where we lead with lack, or we think that we're not going to get enough, like that's like the analogy of someone who keeps eating and eating, and they just feel like if it's there, they have to consume it because you just never know where you're going to get another meal. Or when you're just gluttonously gathering up things, you're hoarding stuff, you're stuffing your pockets because, man, maybe I might need this. We're not leaning into the fact that God still provides for us, that the universe still gives us what we need, that we can literally manifest a better life for ourselves. We're operating in like a survival mode type of thinking. And that's not, I don't think that's the best way to live like a bountiful life or a joyful existence. And I struggled with it, baby. I was the main person saying I was, oh, I don't have this, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. Like it started sounding like a broken record. And I have friends who probably were like, girl, stop thinking like that. Like if you act broke, you're gonna be broke. Or if you start thinking that you don't have this, then you ain't never gonna have it. And it took a long time for me to grow stronger in like my faith and just myself as a person, my capabilities as a person. And lack will really have you settling for a lot of almost right situations, just to have something. And there's really no reason that I could think of where anything that I thought was, well, let me hold on to this because it's the best it's gonna be. Like there's nothing that I could genuinely think of that I was holding on to that was better than anything I may have gotten and probably will get in the future. Like just that survival low mode thinking, it holds us back so much. Like it can have us holding on to, as that song say, a piece of a man is better than no man. It could have us thinking, well, I have no choice. Like I have no choice but to do this. I have no choice but to deal with it. And it may sound easier than it really is in action to change your circumstance or to give yourself, that confidence to go for what you're really worth, or patience to move after you've been slowed down or encountered a setback. It's a lot that can really throw you off course, but there is no situation where I have held on to something and God has not given me better. And I am very grateful for that. I thank my lucky stars for that very often, but it took so long for me to get in that position to be confident and know that I'm always going to be provided for. And sometimes a misstep could be the right step in a direction that I was supposed to go to. Like sometimes we have to make decisions that may not be pretty. And even if they are pretty packaged and all these things, if we get into those situations and they're not where we're supposed to be, don't be afraid to back the right on up out of there. Like that's not failing. That's not giving up too soon. You're not being a quitter. You're not a failure. And we're in that culture where if you're not moving forward or where you think you're supposed to be, then we can find ourselves in predicaments where we settle in just to say we have something. And that is not the way that life is meant to be lived. And that's not the way that I want to live my life. And I don't want anybody who is connected to me to feel as if they got to settle for anything. Like that almost is not going to count when it comes to the life you deserve, the opportunities that fall in your lap, even if they fall in it, if you get in the midst of it and it's not what feels right with your soul, then think about that as something that was given to you to maybe lead you somewhere else. And we have to start thinking like, why did I want this one thing to happen so badly? And for me, I know it's because I was in a point where I didn't think that better was coming for me. And I had to go through a lot of moments where I settled for less, just because I had that mentality like, well, yeah, well, this is as good as it's going to get. And that is not true. And I'm so happy that I had that revelation that it's only as good as it's going to be in your own mind. And I say that I'm not even trying to like be on some woo woo mystical type stuff, but if you want greatness, it's for you. And great may look different for one person. Great might look good to another. Like, you have to be very intrinsic when you're making these decisions, because it's not based off of someone else's viewpoint. And then you have to kind of sit back and say, well, was this even in alignment with what I thought I wanted to do? And I'll take that back to like the job that I was talking about. It sounded good. I thought, oh, whoa, moving from a small or mid-sized firm to be an in-house counsel, like, oh, I'm hanging with the big dogs now. And it looked cute and it looked pretty, whatever. But I was miserable and it wasn't for me. But that opportunity gave me the chance to say that no, this isn't for me. And it gave me the strength to advocate for myself and to move forward and project myself forward into an even better position where I came from. And then 2 years later, after that, another opportunity presented itself for me. And that led to even more things. It led me to another opportunity that fit better with me as a person, that complemented where I see myself and what I want to do with my career. And then a couple years after that, all those almost situations that I walked away from or had to lean into myself more to figure out what almost I deserve better than, that led me to my husband. So I'm not saying that that's going to be everybody else's path or whatever, but I could tell you that I would not be loved on and happy and in the friendships and in this place in life that I am right now if I had stayed in a lot of these almost what I thought I wanted situations. And that's the message. Like, that's the thing that I kind of want y'all to put in the manual, because it's some lesson in those almost moments, and we don't even need to get stuck or be embarrassed or like let those moments cause doubt or confusion. Just remember, like, those in between spaces, that's not where you're at, that's not where you're going. Like, sometimes it might not look like you think it's supposed to, but you have to realize that almost is teaching you to recognize where something is maybe like a not quite, like, this is not quite right, this is not quite what I want, this is not quite what I deserve. And we use those moments to kind of like sharpen our mind so we can be focused on what we do deserve or what we do ultimately want. Sometimes there's a version of you that may be needed to see what your life almost could have been like had you not walked away, or had you not moved on, or had you not advocated for yourself to get you out of that predicament. And that's gonna help you. Like, take all those moments, put them in your back pocket, because it's gonna help you prepare for what you do deserve, and it's not going to be almost anything when those moments come to you. Um, so I really want us to just focus on letting go of what almost could have been or what should have been. Stop beating yourself up with the, well, if I had just did this, or maybe I could have did that, or that could have been so great. Like, you're gonna make yourself stuck in that almost timeline. I feel like for me, so much peace and happiness came where I let go of that should have been, would have been, might have been, could have been narrative. It's no point in still romanticizing about something that didn't ultimately choose you back. Like, think about the future. Think about what you want, not what looks good almost, but the what it's meant to be. You can add an almost line to your manual, and we can put that in the manual, but I want you to, one, take the lessons out of it, and then maybe flip the script and put the almost in your manual of what you're not going to tolerate anymore, or what aligns now with the person that you are becoming and the person you want to be. Or maybe, almost did this, will never do it again, and use that as like your ammunition, like your fuel to move forward. And it could be a professional almost, a leadership opportunity, a position, or a personal almost, that person, the life decision, the what if on it, or a moment where you really could just sit back and be like, thank God that did not work out. Like, there's lessons in those almost moments. Almost didn't break you, almost may have been a setback, almost may have made you take a little bit longer to get to where you ultimately deserve to be. But almost, it still could be an answer, and use it as that. Everything that didn't happen or didn't work out, it still has shaped you and made you who you are now, because you kind of know what you do deserve based off of what you almost settled for. And I just want to put that in the manual. Don't be ashamed of the almost. Give those almost moments a look back and think about how they led you to where you are now. And I want you to kind of think about those almost moments that may approach you in the future. And if it seems like it's almost good enough, but not quite there, I want y'all to have that strength to know that it's better coming for you. You might have to look in a different direction, or you may have to make a different decision, but we're not settling for the almost anymore. We're learning, we're taking our L's, and we're learning from the lessons that we're learning in those almost moments. And yeah, I'm going to put that in the manual, and I hope you do too. And take some time to reflect on it. Let me know what you almost settled for, but really I want to know what you ultimately did, and show me how good it got, because I definitely can show you how good it's gotten for me when I didn't get stuck in my almost moments.
This episode is brought to you by Pyro Media Network, produced by Pyro Media Productions, setting brands ablaze since 2017. Thank you for listening.